Every day, you tell yourself lies. Yes, you heard that right. Lies you repeat over and over, like mantras to justify your fears, insecurities, or simply your lack of action. How many times have you thought you're not good enough, that you'll never change, or, worse, that success is only for the lucky few? Don't worry, you're not alone. But here's a dose of truth. Those lies are just excuses you create to avoid facing reality. Stoic philosophy is clear. You can't control what happens, but you can control how you react. So, how about we start unmasking these 12 lies and stop sabotaging yourself? Don't miss the last one. It'll leave you speechless. At the end of the day, you're the author of your own story. Will you keep writing the same script? Or are you ready to change the ending? If you find value in this, please subscribe and hit the bell to stay updated. Don't skip any of these 12 lies. Some might shed serious light on your daily life. Let's get started. 1. I'm not good enough. Let's talk about something often buried under layers of superficiality. The idea that you're not good enough. That nagging thought buzzing in your head, like an annoying fly, constantly reminding you that success or happiness is reserved for a lucky few. If you've ever wondered why this belief feels so real, you're not alone. Let's unpack it and see how we can flip the script. Because, honestly, it's time to do something about it. The belief that you don't deserve success or happiness is like a movie villain who seems invincible, but is actually pretty mediocre. This mindset, fueled by insecurities and comparisons, is a story you tell yourself daily. But here's the thing. That story has an alternate ending, and you're the writer. First, it's crucial to understand where this sense of inadequacy comes from. Society, unreachable standards of success, and our own unrealistic expectations create an explosive cocktail. We've been taught to believe personal worth is tied to external achievements, as if success were an exclusive club only a few lucky folks can join. But here's the raw truth. That's complete nonsense. We're often our own worst critics, measuring ourselves with a yardstick we don't even use for others. It's like comparing your basketball skills to Michael Jordan's and then wondering why you're not in the NBA. The truth is, while aiming to be your best self is admirable, doing so with a standard no one can meet is just self-sabotage. So, how do you change this narrative? This is where Stoic philosophy comes in, that ancient wisdom that says we can't control external events, only our response to them. Instead of focusing on what you can't control, like others' opinions or instant success, value what you can control, your attitude and effort. It's like adjusting a camera's focus to capture the image you really want to see. Also, swap the daily lies you tell yourself. Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, try saying, I'm constantly growing and learning. Changing the narrative is like rewriting a movie script. It lets you be the hero, not the villain. The idea that you're not good enough is just a self-imposed obstacle. You can keep accepting the current script, or write a new one that celebrates your achievements and potential. Life's too short to live in the shadow of limiting beliefs. As Carl Jung said, it's not success that defines you, but how you define yourself in the face of challenges. 2. I'll never change. Have you ever said, I'll never change? Those words act like a shield, protecting you from the discomfort of personal growth. Sure, it's easier to stay in your comfort zone, watching Netflix instead of going for a walk, or eating those veggies. But what if I told you that statement is just a convenient lie? You tell yourself, I imagine your life as an old couch, one you've had for years, stained and with flattened cushions. You're used to it, right? It feels cozy and familiar. But deep down, you know it's falling apart. The same goes for your habits and behaviors. The couch might be a wreck, but you'd rather not move because change takes effort and feels uncomfortable. It's easier to sink into the same routine than to get up and find something better. Stoic philosophy, with its focus on discipline and inner control, offers an interesting perspective on change. The Stoics teach that true freedom comes from controlling our reactions and decisions. You have the power to change, even if you tell yourself you don't. The trick is dismantling that false sense of being unchangeable. Don't worry. Change doesn't mean flipping your life upside down overnight. It can be as simple as swapping an hour of television for a walk, or starting that book you always say you'll read when you have time. If you're willing to make small tweaks, you'll find that old couch can be replaced with something far more comfortable. And no, I'm not talking about impulse shopping, but about building habits that bring you closer to an upgraded version of yourself. Here's a simple technique, the principle of small steps. It's like wanting to take a big trip, but realizing you can't do it in one leap. So, you decide to take small, manageable steps that eventually get you to your destination. If you tell yourself you'll never change, you're choosing to stay at the same station, waiting for a train that never comes. Change isn't just possible, it's necessary for growth. The idea of I'll never change is like a chain you put on yourself. You can break those chains with willpower and a bit of effort. Life isn't a television show where everything stays the same. It's a series that's always evolving, and you're the star who can rewrite the script. So, next time you catch yourself saying, I'll never change, think about that old couch. Do you really want to keep sinking into the same thing? Or are you ready to get up and find something that makes you feel comfortable and fulfilled? The choice is yours. As Brian Tracy says, change isn't just an option, it's a necessity for those seeking growth. 3. Success is only for the lucky. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have success while you're stuck in a constant struggle? Maybe you comfort yourself by thinking life's just a roulette wheel, and you got the wrong number. What if I told you that's one of the biggest lies you tell yourself? The idea that success is only for the lucky is just a fancy way to dodge the fact that maybe, just maybe, there's more at play than luck. Let's break down this myth. Picture success as baking a cake. Luck is like adding a bit of yeast to the mix and hoping it turns into a delicious birthday cake. What happens if the yeast doesn't work? Do you give up on the idea of ever having cake? Or do you get to work adding more ingredients and tweaking the recipe? The truth is, for most people, success isn't a product of luck, but a mix of effort, skills, and, yes, some opportunities that come along the way. Diving into the Stoic world, we find a revealing perspective. With their philosophy rooted in self-understanding and self-discipline, the Stoics teach that success doesn't depend on uncontrollable external factors, but on our ability to manage our actions and reactions. Instead of waiting for fate to hand you a slice of cake, the Stoics encourage you to be the chef who perfects their recipe, no matter how many times the oven breaks down. Sound familiar? Probably, because if you look at successful people, you'll see luck may have played a role. But the real secret is their ability to seize opportunities, plus consistent hard work and resilience. Think of any famous entrepreneur. Do you imagine Jeff Bezos sat around waiting for luck to gift him Amazon in a flash? Number He built his empire through effort and vision. So, what can you do to stop being a bystander in your own life and start being the star of your success? First, stop blaming luck. Instead, invest time in building your skills and grabbing every opportunity that comes your way. Luck is like a good ingredient, but without a solid recipe, it won't get you far. If you believe success is only for the lucky, you're giving yourself an excuse to avoid facing the reality that the real key lies in your own effort and determination. Next time you think about success, remember you can be the chef of your own fortune. If the cake doesn't come out perfect the first time, keep mixing and trying until you nail the recipe. Take note, success is less about a stroke of luck and more about a series of well-made decisions and consistent actions. 4. I have to be perfect. Have you ever wondered why you feel you need to be perfect to be happy? It's like your life is a reality show, and your goal is to win the award for the most flawless human. But here's the catch. There's no award, just an endless cycle of dissatisfaction. The pursuit of perfection is like trying to catch a shadow. No matter how fast you run, it's always one step ahead. Meanwhile, you're missing the life that's actually happening. Let me tell you a secret. Perfection is an illusion. It's like being a painter trying to create a masterpiece while blindfolded. Perfectionism convinces you there's an unattainable standard you must meet. But in reality, you're just blocking the path to your real achievements. It's a trap that keeps you in a constant state of anxiety, like a hamster on a wheel that never stops. Think of perfectionism as that annoying friend who always says, "Number that's not good enough." Every time you try something, imagine you're cooking, and every time you add an ingredient, the perfectionist in your head yells, "It's not enough." You end up with a pot of doubts instead of a tasty dish. What if I told you the secret is to stop worrying about tiny details and instead enjoy the process of cooking? The result can be just as delicious, and you'll be way more relaxed. Accepting imperfection doesn't mean settling for mediocrity. It means freeing yourself from the burden of trying to be something you're not. Think of it as a parachute. At first, it's scary to pull the cord because you don't know if it'll work. But once you do, you experience a freedom you never imagined. Stoic philosophy, for example, teaches us to focus on what we can control and accept what we can't change. Instead of obsessing over every mistake, learn to see each one as a chance to grow and improve. Here's a simple but powerful technique: the small wins challenge. Set small, achievable goals and celebrate every success, no matter how tiny. This helps shift your perspective from perfection to steady progress. Instead of chasing an unattainable ideal, you realize every step counts. So, next time you find yourself chasing perfection, pause and ask, what am I sacrificing by trying to be perfect? Life is full of imperfections, and those imperfections make it interesting and authentic. By accepting that perfection is an illusion, you give yourself permission to live more fully and happily. Perfection is just an excuse to avoid living. So, let go of the reins, go with the flow, and start enjoying the ride. As Gandhi said, perfection is the enemy of progress. Woo! I always have to please others. Have you ever felt trapped in an endless race to win others' approval? That feeling that every decision, word, and action has to pass through the filter of what others think. It's like we live in a society that rewards the constant need to fit in, as if our worth depended solely on others' opinions. Here we are, chasing a pat on the back that, curiously, never feels like enough. The problem is, in this endless quest for approval, we lose our authenticity. It's like we're in a theater performance, playing a different role each day, just to ensure the critics sucker, the people around you are happy. How exhausting and often disheartening. Instead of living our lives, we become experts at meeting others' expectations, as if our existence were a series of reviews for a rating that keeps changing. This is where Stoic philosophy comes in. I'm not asking you to become an ancient Greek philosopher, but you can learn to focus on what really matters, your own well-being and values. The Stoics teach that we can't control what others think, but we can control how we react to their judgments. Next time you feel pressured to do something just to please others, remember that's not your true measure of worth. So, how can you start setting healthy boundaries? First, take a moment to ask yourself, am I doing this because I really want to, or because I hope others will applaud me? This small reflection can be liberating. For example, if you're considering accepting a party invite you're not excited about, maybe it's time to think if your presence is truly wanted, or if you're just seeking the validation you think you'll get. A practical technique is learning to say no, without feeling like you're breaking a sacred contract. Practice saying it out loud, guilt-free. It might sound simple, but you'll be surprised how freeing it is to start being honest with yourself and others. After all, you're the only one who has to live with the decisions you make, not the rest of the world. Stopping the constant search for others' approval isn't just an act of courage. It's a path to a more authentic and fulfilling life. Your true worth lies in being true to yourself, not in a pile of compliments that, honestly, can be as fleeting as a wave on the beach. Next time you face a decision you feel you're only making to please others, remember your value doesn't depend on their applause. Let me make this clear. The real triumph isn't winning others' approval, but earning your own respect. 6. I don't have time for myself. Have you looked in the mirror today and thought, I don't have time for myself? Welcome to the club of the eternally busy, where free time is a myth and self-care a luxury. Sound familiar? It's easy to get caught in a frantic routine, where time for yourself feels as unreachable as a unicorn. But before you resign yourself to the idea that living without time for you is your inevitable fate, let me share a secret. Time management is more than a skill. It's a matter of priorities. First, let's be honest. We're all busy, but you're not the only one who's lost their compass in the chase of daily life. The real question isn't whether you have time, but how you're using it. Picture your time as a sack of potatoes. If the sack has holes, no matter how many potatoes you put in, you'll always end up with fewer. So, how many of your potatoes are slipping through those holes? The truth is, a lack of time is often a lack of focus, or, more precisely, a lack of prioritization. It's like you're in an obstacle course, but instead of jumping hurdles, you're tripping over your own mental clutter. You wake up early, rush to tackle all the day's tasks, and end up wondering if you'll ever stop to enjoy the view. This is where Stoic philosophy, though it might seem straight out of a period drama, is incredibly relevant today. The Stoics believed happiness doesn't come from having free time, but from how you use the time you have. Instead of lamenting what you can't do, focus on what you can control. To change your life, start by asking, what's truly important? Imagine your time as a blank canvas. Each brushstroke represents an activity or task. If you're not mindful of what you want to paint, the result will be a chaotic mess of colors. But if you decide what images you want to create, you'll have a masterpiece of your own design. A simple technique is the Pareto principle, or the 80-20th rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Identify the key tasks that really move you forward, and give them your primary focus. This will free up space in your life to dedicate time to yourself without the rest of the world collapsing. Time isn't a relentless enemy stealing your life. It's a tool you can wield in your favor. If you don't make time for yourself, someone else will, and probably not in the way you'd hope. Managing your time and priorities is a way of taking yourself seriously. So, next time you catch yourself saying you don't have time, consider if maybe you're just not using it as well as you could. As Seneca said, it's not about having time, but about how you use the time you have. Sept. My problems are unique. That my problems are unique feeling. That glorious sense of being the star of a dramatic movie, where you're the only one facing an unparalleled tragedy. Because, of course, your challenges are so special that even Hollywood screenwriters wouldn't dare dream them up. But what if I told you your grand saga isn't as exclusive as you think? Let's unravel this curious illusion of uniqueness and see why sharing your experiences might be the key to breaking free from the self-pity loop. Have you ever thought your life is a series of near-biblical trials only you must face? Maybe you're convinced you're the only one dealing with a tough boss, a messy relationship, or a financial meltdown. But here's a secret. Problems, though they come in different wrapping, you usually have the same filling everywhere. Think of it like this. Remember the old trick of comparing your problems to the weight of a backpack? I imagine everyone carries an invisible backpack loaded with rocks. Yours might have bigger or smaller rocks. But at the end of the day, we're all carrying one. When you sit down and share what's inside with others, you realize you're not alone. Often, you find some people are even willing to help carry it, or at least offer useful tips on how to bear it better. Stoic philosophy, that ancient school of thought that seems to have an answer for everything, reminds us we're not unique in our suffering. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoics, often reflected on the shared nature of our struggles. If you dive into his writings, you'll see the idea that our problems are unique is an illusion. The Stoics teach that we all face similar challenges, and strength lies in how we tackle them, not in their supposed uniqueness. So, what can you do with this new perspective? First, try sharing your problems with friends, family, or a support group. It's amazing how talking about your struggles can lighten the load and open you up to valuable solutions and advice. Second, reflect on how others have faced similar issues. Reading stories of people who've overcome comparable challenges can offer new strategies and a dose of hope. Next time you feel overwhelmed by the uniqueness of your problems, remember that in the vastness of human experience, you're likely not as alone as you think. Instead of clinging to the idea that your struggle is one of a kind, open your mind and heart to the possibility that sharing your challenges can not only ease your burden, but also lead to unexpected solutions at the end of the day. Maybe what's truly unique is how we support each other in the journey. As Nelson Mandela said, there's no greater freedom than discovering you're not alone in your battle. 8. Happiness lies in the future. Have you ever stopped to think about that shiny, distant corner at the end of the rainbow you call the future? There, in the distance, lies the promised happiness. Like a solilation prize you'll only reach if you work hard enough. It's like, in this game of life, happiness is a hidden treasure you've been promised, but never seems to appear. It's as if happiness is in a shopping cart you can only access with a special coupon called success. The idea that you'll be happy once you achieve certain goals is almost a cultural tradition. It's not hard to see why, from a young age, we're taught life is an obstacle course, and the finish line is the nirvana of happiness. Finish school, land the perfect job, buy your dream house, and then eternal bliss. Sounds amazing, right? But here's the catch. When you reach that finish line, you realize the horizon has shifted. There's another goal, another milestone you must hit to finally feel fulfilled. It's an endless race where the grand prize is just an illusion. Imagine your life as an adventure movie. Instead of being the hero facing dragons and monsters, you're the protagonist chasing happiness. Every goal you hit is just the next chapter, and the happy ending is always in the next episode. If you don't stop to enjoy the current scenes, you risk the movie ending without you savoring a single frame. Stoic philosophy, which has stood the test of time, offers a refreshing perspective. The Stoics taught that true peace and satisfaction aren't found in the future, but in how we approach the present. Instead of obsessing over what we haven't achieved, we can learn to find contentment in the moment. It's like learning to dance in the rain, instead of waiting for the storm to pass. So, how do you apply this in real life? First, start by recognizing that happiness isn't a destination, but a way of living. Try practicing daily gratitude, focusing on what you have now instead of what's missing. Reassess your goals and ask if they align with what you truly value, not what's expected of you. Above all, let the present be enough. You don't have to wait to have it all to be happy. Happiness can find you along the way. At the end of the day, the real magic lies in learning to enjoy the journey. Instead of expecting the destination to hand you happiness on a silver platter, life isn't a race to an unattainable goal, but a series of moments that, when appreciated, make for a fulfilling existence. As a wise Stoic proverb says, if you always wait for the future to be happy, you'll forget to live in the present. 9. I have no control over my life. Have you ever sat on the couch, staring at the television, wondering how you became a spectator in your own life? It's curious how the feeling of having no control over your destiny can be so strong. It's like the strings of your existence are in the hands of an invisible puppeteer. The good news? You and like a soap opera, you're not doomed to live the script others have written for you. Here's a secret. That sense of powerlessness is a well-crafted illusion. It's like a magic trick that fools you into thinking you're trapped in a maze with no exit, when really, you're standing in front of a door you can open, if you just dare to turn the handle. How do you start? First, ditch the myth of having no control. We often tell ourselves we can't change anything, that we're victims of our circumstances, when, in reality, most of the time, we're just choosing not to act. Imagine you're in a bakery, facing a display case full of options. You can choose between a chocolate cake or a fruit tart. The difference is, in real life, you often stand in front of the case, waiting for someone else to choose for you. Why not dare to pick the cake you really want? Stoic philosophy teaches that while we can't control everything around us, we can control how we respond. It's like life throwing you lemons. Instead of complaining about the soreness, get creative and make lemonade. This approach doesn't mean all problems will magically disappear, but it lets you make more conscious decisions, and you ultimately feel more in control of your life. Now, let's talk about applying this daily. First, list the areas where you feel you lack control. Your job, relationships, personal well-being. Once you've pinpointed them, set small steps to change your situation. You don't have to transform your life overnight. Take one small step today, another tomorrow. Each small move brings you closer to feeling in control. For example, if you're always gripping about your job, instead of sulking on the couch, why not start looking for new opportunities or building skills to move forward? If your relationships feel draining, work on improving communication and understanding the people around you. The K is action. The sense of powerlessness is a false illusion that keeps you stuck in a rut of despair. Instead of waiting for things to change on their own, remember you have the power to take the reins. Stoicism reminds us that while we can't control everything that happens, we can choose how to react and what steps to take to improve our situation. So, stop being a passive spectator and become the star of your own story. Burn this into your mind. The control you think you lack is actually the power you haven't yet chosen to use. 10. The past defines who I am. The past, that charming place where your bad decisions and awkward memories gather to form a personal museum. We've been taught the past is a lens through which we view the present, but let's be real. It's more like a pair of sunglasses that only let you see the shadows of what once was. Yet, try as we might, we cling to it like it's some kind of fetish. Imagine this: you're at a party, and someone's talking about their achievements, travels, glory days. Meanwhile, you're in a corner, replaying that awkward moment 5 years ago, when you spilled wine on your friend's carpet at a dinner party. If that cocktail mishap defines your character and ability to make friends, it's easy to fall into the trap of letting the past define you. I failed at something once, so I'll never pull it off again. It's the kind of narrative you tell yourself, as if falling off a bike once means you can never ride again. This mindset makes you a slave to your own history, without realizing the past should be a chapter, not the whole book. So, how do you escape this trap? Stoic philosophy offers a sensible way to see it. The Stoics believe the past is just a distant echo that has no power over our present unless we give it. Instead of letting the past control our narrative, they invite us to focus on what we can do now. It's like having a road map, where you stop looking at the route you've already traveled and focus on the destination you want to reach. First, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, is the past really dictating my behavior? Or am I just using those old stories as an excuse not to move forward? If it's the latter, it's time for a tweak. Start by identifying the lies you tell yourself, those you repeat every time someone reminds you of your potential. I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, are classic examples of self-destructive narratives. Then, act against those beliefs. If you've told yourself you're a mess at relationships because of a tough breakup, try opening up to new experiences with the mindset that each one is a chance to learn, not a reflection of who you are. Replace your past story with concrete actions in the present. Finally, remember the past can teach you, but it shouldn't rule you. Choose how you want to define yourself, but base it on what you're capable of now, not the mistakes you made yesterday. The present is the only playing field that matters. As Oscar Wilde said, the past is an OLD book you can close. The present is the chapter where you decide how to be the hero of your own story. So, go ahead. It's time to let your life be a series of fresh, exciting chapters, not an endless loop of paced reruns. 11. Fear is a sign of weakness. Have you ever stopped to think how fear has become your most dreaded enemy, only to realize it's actually your greatest ally? It's curious how we live in a society that's made fear a sign of weakness. As if not facing it and letting it control your life makes you less brave. But what if I told you that fear you're so scared of could be the secret ingredient to building true strength? First, let's debunk the myth that feeling fear equals weakness. Think of fear as an alarm in an antique shop. Sure, it can be annoying and loud, but it's there to protect something valuable. Stoic philosophy teaches that fear isn't an enemy to eliminate, but a signal you're on the edge of something significant. Instead of seeing it as weakness, recognize it as a clue. You're navigating uncharted territory, and that's exactly what makes you brave. Now, you might wonder how to face those fears. Imagine you're in an adventure movie. The hero doesn't become a hero by avoiding dangers, but by confronting them in your real life. Facing fear is like being the hero of your own story. Instead of dodging challenges, embrace them as chances to grow. You might not be an action-adventure star, but every time you face a fear, you're writing another page of your personal epic. For facing fears, try a simple but effective technique: gradual exposure. If you're scared of public speaking, don't start with a speech to 1,000 people. Begin with a small conversation, maybe with a friend. This step-by-step approach helps desensitize you to fear, making it less terrifying with each move. Facing fears isn't an instant act of bravery. It's an ongoing process of small victories. Fear shouldn't be seen as weakness, but as a sign you're on the verge of meaningful change. True courage lies in facing those fears and using them as a springboard to your inner strength. Next time you feel that knot in your stomach, remember you're on the right path, the one of someone willing to face the unknown and become a stronger version of themselves. Here's something to hold on to. Fear isn't a sign of weakness, but an opportunity to discover your true strength. 12. Life should be easy. Have you ever wondered why you think life should be a smooth bike ride with no bumps? It's curious how we all have this fantasy of a world without complications, as if existence were a series of sunny days with no clouds on the horizon. Reality, Thor, seems to have a twisted sense of humor, throwing in obstacles that challenge that utopian vision. Here's the trick. Accepting that life isn't easy can be the key to finding true satisfaction. The illusion that life should be a clear path isn't just a fantasy, it's a mental trap. You wake up each morning thinking everything should flow smoothly, and when reality slaps you in the face, you feel let down. It's like expecting every day to be a scene from a rom-com, where everything resolves with a smile. Life doesn't work that way. Instead of seeking a life without challenges, we should learn to handle those challenges with grace and humor. Stoic philosophy offers an interesting perspective. The Stoics believed we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react. Imagine you're in a chess game with life. You can't choose your opponent's pieces, but you can plan your moves with cunning. Instead of whining about the pieces you can't move, focus on how to play the ones you can. It's not about being a chess genius, but about adapting and playing your cards as best you can. So, how do you handle these curveballs? First, Accept that the world isn't designed to be a perfect stage. Life is more like an action movie with suspense and plot twists. Second, learn to laugh at setbacks. Next time you hit an obstacle, instead of getting mad, see it as a dramatic twist in your personal movie. This perspective lets you tackle challenges with less stress and more wit. Also, consider setting realistic goals and being flexible with outcomes. It's like building a sandcastle. Don't expect every tower to be perfect. Sometimes, the wind or tide will force you to adjust your plans. The key is enjoying the process, not just the final result. It's not about eliminating problems, but finding ways to enjoy the journey, even when it gets tough. A complicated life doesn't mean it's less valuable. Accepting that life isn't easy and handling challenges with a positive attitude can enrich your experience. As Marcus Aurelius said, life isn't the problem to solve, but the journey to enjoy. If you've made it this far, drop in the comments. Don't fool yourself. I'm excited to hear your success stories. I invite you to subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment so YouTube knows these videos are helpful for people like you. This motivates us to keep creating similar content. I suggest checking out the 2 latest videos we recommend. Thanks for your time and support. See you in our next adventure.